everyone, this is Mrs. Myers with a lesson on using the Desmos calculator to evaluate expressions. So you should have your Desmos calculator in front of you as we go through some of the examples today on how to evaluate these expressions in a very simple way using the Desmos calculator. So first thing, let's go to our first problem. So we're going to evaluate if A equals -5, B equals -6, and C equals -2. Now we've been learning how to substitute and how to put in numbers and follow the order of operations, which we still need to know how to do. But another thing we can use to evaluate these expressions is our Desmos calculator. So I'm just going to pull mine up here and we're going to practice. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this expression. So I'm going to just type in, and you guys can do this along with me. I'm going to go to the ABC, and I'm going to put in C minus 3. I'm going to use the absolute value bar, and then I'm going to type in B minus A. Like so. Okay, so if you go to the next line, you're going to see that there's an error, and it tells you you have too many variables, and you need to try. Look, it says try defining C, B, or A. So right now it's just an expression. So we've just typed in our expression, and now what we're going to have to do is tell Desmos what the values are for A, B, and C. So take a moment and make sure you have your expression written correctly. That's really important. Make sure that you're using the absolute value sign that's over here. And make sure yours looks exactly as it's written over here. All right, so now that we have the expression written in, we're going to tell Desmos what the values are of A, B, and C. So I'm going to go to my next line, and I'm going to tell it A equals -5. Still not solved because I don't know C or B, and if you look up here it'll tell you. Try defining C or B. So I'm going to go to the next line, and I'm going to tell it that B is equal to -6. All right, and again, when I go to see if it's solved, it says too many variables, try defining C. We've defined A and B. And now we're going to define C. So you're going to go to the next line, and I'm going to tell it that C is equal to +2. So the only thing here is you're going to have to go back and forth between the main and the ABC to get your variables. So now we have told it A is -5, B is -6, and C is equal to 2. And we entered in the expression. So now if I scroll back up to my expression, it gives me my solution. It tells me that the solution to this expression, when A is -5, B is -6, and C is 2, it's telling me that the answer is -1. And again, this is a way you can check your work, or in some cases you could just use this tool to evaluate expressions. So let's go ahead and try another problem. So I'm going to clear this out, and we're going to go to our second problem. So now we're evaluating if m equals 5, n equals 16, and p equals 6. So I'm going to pull up my Desmos calculator again, and I'm going to put in this expression. Now this is going to be a little different because you have the division, and I wanted to make sure you guys see what's going to happen here when you have division. I'm going to pull it up here on top of our variables right now. So I'm going to go to my main, and I'm just going to type this in, 4. Okay, I need the variable m, so I'm going to go to m. I'm going to use my plus sign, just like this. So I'm adding. Now here, watch what happens. I want you guys to take a look what happens when I put my brackets in. When I put my brackets in, and I put in n, it's going to give me a weird answer. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you, don't use the brackets. So you're not going to use these brackets Instead, what you're going to use is just use your double parentheses, because this is something that goes with higher level math. With when you guys get to high school, you'll be doing some math where you have something called matrices. And this actually tells it to do something within the brackets that doesn't relate to what we're doing right now. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to just use parentheses, two sets of parentheses here. So my outside grouping, I'm going to use my parentheses. I'm going to use my square root sign. I'm going to put in n. Then I'm going to use my division, and this is where it gets a little tricky. So I'm going to divide this. I'm going to use my division bar, and now look what happens. When you tell Desmos to divide, it's going to use the fraction bar method for division. It's not going to use the division sign, and that's okay. Just make sure you're typing it in as it is here, and you'll still get a result that's the correct answer. So continuing here, I put my division in. Now I'm going to put parentheses in again. 10 minus, I'm going to go here to P, and then I have my parentheses there. And then I could put, it already has the other set of parentheses. So this is the expression you should have typed in. And again, it looks a little different from this because we're using the fraction, in the problem we're using the fraction, the division symbol, whereas Desmos used the division bar for the symbol. Okay, so now that we've got our expression typed in, we're going to go ahead and let it know, because if I click on there, it says too many variables, try defining m, n, or p. So I'm going to go to the next line, and I'm going to tell it what m is. So m is equal to 5. Okay, and that's what I'm just typing in. Again, now I know what m is, but I need to know what n and p are. So I'm going to go to my next line. I'm going to tell it that n is equal to 16. And then if I click on it, it's telling me I still need to know what p is. So my last line, I'm going to enter, and I'm going to tell it the value of p. So I'm going to click on p is equal to, and I just got to move my calculator here, p is equal to 6. So you're going to type in 6 for the value of p. All right, so again, I have my expression there that I typed in. I have the value of m, n, and p, and notice now it gives me the solution. So it gives me a solution of 21. Same expression, and now it's just letting us know that once we tell it what m, n, and p are, it actually evaluates it for us, following the order of operations. Let's do one more example together. I thought I had another one here. There we go. One more example together. So here's our expression this time, and we're going to be using that fraction bar, so it's important that we practice that. So I'm going to clear out my Desmos calculator, and I'm going to tell the calculator what the expression is. So now this is going to be a little tricky because you guys have a fraction bar. On the iPads or touchscreens, it's sometimes difficult to highlight this to put it as a fraction. So the best thing to do is actually, when you see a fraction bar, is to click on the a over b, which represents the fraction. So it's going to go ahead and give you that bar from the very beginning. You don't have to worry about putting it in as you work. So I'm at the top. So I'm going to type in 2 parentheses a plus b parentheses, and then, oops, I forgot my square. Different from square root, it's my square. And then on the bottom, I'm going to put, just like I have here, I'm going to place a b. So there we go. I've typed in my expression. I'm checking to make sure that it's correct. I'm going to click here, and it tells me, guess what? We can't solve it yet because I have too many variables. Try defining a or b, and we are going to go ahead and define them. So you're going to go to the next line, and you're going to tell the Desmos calculator the values for a and b. A equals We have right here -3. Okay, and you can only do one variable per line. So I'm going to go to the next line, and now I'm going to tell it the value for B. Because again, if I just do A, it says, nope, you still need to tell me what B is. So B is equal to 2. All right, and once you do that, you can see I have my expression. I've told Desmos the value for A. I've told Desmos the value for B, and now it's evaluated the expression, and I get an answer of 1. Okay. That's our demonstration on how to use Desmos to evaluate expressions.